The Sunday school lesson for July the 28th, 2024 is God Redeems Us, Psalm 130. Welcome, viewers and subscribers, to my channel, The Backstory and More. I am Audrey. If you are new here and you would like to know what happens before each Sunday school lesson, you are at the right place because I will share the backstory, read the lesson text, and offer a brief lesson summary. Please help this channel grow one viewer and one subscriber at a time. Please subscribe, like, share, and comment. Thank you so much for all that you do to help this channel grow. The backstory. Let's begin. Psalm 130 is part of a larger cluster, usually called the Psalms of Ascents, or less often, the Pilgrimage Psalter, Psalms 120 through 134. The Psalms in the group may have originated at different times and places, as far as would be true of a modern hymnal, but functional together as songs for the pilgrims entering the Jerusalem temple, in the period following the Babylonian exile. The group of Psalms fall into three subgroups: Psalms 120 through 124, 125 through 129, and 130 through 134. Perhaps the pilgrims sang them at different stops on the road from the Mount of Olives through the Kidron Valley and into the precinct around the temple itself. Psalm 130, in particular, may have served as part of a night vigil as the pilgrims awaited the dawn, which in turn would symbolize the dawning of God's light in their lives. Those hypotheses are reasonable but hard to prove. Yet they would explain the varying moods of these psalms and their progressive closeness to the temple itself. More certain is that the Psalms together address a wide range of concerns and moods. Together, they allow the worshiping community to express anxiety and hope, fear and trust, sorrow and joy. That is, they help worshipers bring their entire lives to God, share their lives with each other, and eagerly await God's transforming work. Psalm 130 moves the pilgrims from an attitude of despair to one of supreme confidence in God's saving work. When the one singing focuses on his or her personal suffering, fear and sorrow can overtake faith. But when the focus shifts toward God's inclination to save and the consequent hope that the entire people may enjoy, the mood may change to hope. So it is here. The poem, though very short, moves in several steps from a statement of need addressed to God to an acknowledgement of God's mercy and confession of hope to an address to all of Israel. Psalm 130 begins with a cry to God, as most laments do. Here the attitude is one of deep need and expectation of help. It differs from some psalms of lament by being briefer and jumping to praise without much preparation. In those songs born of distress, the singer either promises to praise God or does so. The promise or the praise is born out of gratitude for God's generous response to the petition for help. Psalm 130 seems like a very condensed lament that shades into something different altogether. Perhaps that difference from other psalms reflects this one's placement in a larger group. It does not have to do all the work a normal lament does because it does not stand alone. Psalm 129 describes long standing attacks on faithful Israelites and expects God's deliverance, while Psalm 130 expresses contrition before God. Collectively, These psalms together position the one praying as someone in the correct spiritual position before God. Verses 1 through 3. Out of the depths I cry to you, Lord. Lord, hear my voice. Let your ears be attentive to my cry for mercy. If you, Lord, kept a record of sins, Lord, who could stand? Verses 4 through 6. But with you there is forgiveness, so that we can, with reverence, serve you. I wait for the Lord, my whole being waits, and in his word I put my hope. I wait for the Lord, more than watchmen wait for the morning. More than watchmen wait for the morning. Verses 7 through 8. Israel, put your hope in the Lord, for with the Lord is unfailing love, and with him is full redemption. He himself will redeem Israel from all their sins. A brief summary. Psalm 130 speaks to faith that involves waiting for God's grace to make itself known. During such a time, the person may doubt God's ability or willingness to save, question the integrity of other human beings, and even lose self respect. Waiting for salvation challenges every fiber of a person's being. Yet, that challenge itself strengthens faith in the long run. As this psalm makes clear, trust in God does not come without some doubts. Will God listen? Biblical faith is not a Pollyanna attitude about life. It is realistic and honest about hardship. Yet it does not remain there. The spiritual challenges we face, the depths, become opportunities for grace. Therefore, learning the discipline of waiting is part of learning to live with God and all others who are also awaiting God's help. This psalm, in short, exposes an important truth about human beings, our profound need and desire for God's presence. As part of a community of pilgrims seeking God's presence, the faithful person can speak to God even in the most desperate moments of life. The communal worship of the Israelite community acknowledges that fact. God does not skimp on acts that will benefit human beings, but rather frequently engages in them. Worship in the community still reminds us of God's mighty acts. May we, in our darkest moments and in the grasp of the sins that don't want to let us go, cry out to our God and heed the call to hope in his saving works. Thank you so very much for listening. Join me soon for the next backstory and more. And remember, every Sunday at 1 o'clock Central Standard Time, I release the video for the upcoming Sunday School lesson. Thank you so much for all that you do to help this channel grow one viewer and one subscriber at a time.